Right now, a community forum is underway to discuss alternatives to policing in Denver.
When it comes to local leaders, call for change after Denver police shot and killed an unarmed black man last month.
On August 5th, 36-year-old Brandon Cole approached officers while they were responding to a domestic violence call. A DPD officer mistook a black marker he was holding for a weapon, and police shot him, and he later died. And the incident is still under investigation.
Well, now Cole's death is reigniting calls for Denver police to change the way they respond to people in crisis.
You know, when community is in distress, we often trust the people we know most. We will call our friends or family or community leaders before we call the police. And yet we get no dollars for that kind of response.
Denver 7's Micah Smith learned that tonight's conversation will center around the creation of a new department.
More than $8 million will be set aside in Denver Mayor Mike Johnston's budget for 167 new officers to patrol Denver streets. But some community leaders say that money could be put to better public safety use.
I chaired Mayor Johnston's transition team on the Office of Neighborhood Safety. We had 3 community meetings, overwhelming support, and yet not a dime in the mayor's budget.
Women Uprising Executive Director Lisa Calderon and 4 other city leaders will discuss this office and other alternatives to policing during a community forum.
We have RSVPs from city council members, from the DA's office, from the police department even. So we are expecting a very robust dialogue to ask hard questions.
It's about safety. It's about our budgets as an entire city.
City Councilwoman Chantel Lewis will also help lead the discussion. So we asked her about the city's capacity to fund an Office of Neighborhood Safety and other police alternatives.
Our safety budget, it's about 1/3 of the overall budget. And so when we talk about funding, the dollars are there. We just have to have the political will to be able to do it. This discussion that's led by community with an invitation to elected officials to learn from the experts to figure out how do we bring that back here, right, and change the lives of the everyday citizen.
I hope that Mayor Johnston really understands that we have not just a homelessness crisis, but we also have a policing and communities crisis.
And Lewis and Calderon say it's time to let the community lead the way to solutions. Reporting in Denver, Micah Smith, Denver 7.
Tonight's forum is being held at Shorter Community AME Church. We have a crew there. We'll have an update tonight at 10.
And let's take the conversation around the proposed Office of Neighborhood Safety further in depth. The concept is relatively new, but similar offices have emerged in several U.S. cities within the last decade. For perspective here, Baltimore created a mayor's Office of Neighborhood Safety and Engagement. That was back in 2020. And the goal was having more city agencies play a role in public safety and violence prevention. That office provides direct services and oversees Baltimore's violence prevention program. According to its annual report last year, that office had a $24.8 million budget and 16 staff members.
Mayor Johnston has identified safer neighborhoods as the priority for his upcoming budget. As Micah mentioned, that includes adding 167 new police recruits at the cost of $8.2 million next year. But it also includes more funding for response programs. So let's look closer at that. Denver's 2024 budget includes $7 million to fund the support team known as STAR, $1.8 million to add a second wellness winning team that provides mobile mental and behavioral health care, and $4 million to help a 24/7 treatment resource for those having a behavioral crisis.
And looking closer now, tonight's discussion in Denver, it's part of a greater push for police reform across the metro. Earlier this month, Boulder City Council unanimously voiced support for its own Reimagining Police plan. And it calls for Boulder PD to hire 14 new officers, allowing them to spend 40% of their shift on prevention and problem solving, specifically in communities negatively impacted by policing. It also includes recruitment of more officers from diverse backgrounds and the creation of an online tool that would allow the community to rate their experience with officers after every interaction. Details on program funding are still in early discussions.